This week, after Bitcoin, Ethereum and other cryptos fell about 15% in one day, many investors and financial YouTubers started screaming that crash of Bitcoin is coming. But I have a quite different opinion, as well as many central bankers from all over the world. No secrets from you guys, keep watching. Hi, my name is Dmitry Bonder. I live in Austin, Texas with my spouse and 3 kids, and we are building our family wealth through long-term investing in stocks, real estate and cryptos. Every week I'm looking for a reliable source of information and facts to make right investment decisions. So if you share my values, consider to be part of my community and subscribe. Okay guys, one funny fact. While most of us go to Bahamas for the sun and surf, central bankers from all over the world may be visiting for another reason, to check out the country's new digital currency, the cent dollar. Yes, you heard right. The Bahamas is one of 3 countries to launch a digital currency, along with China and Cambodia. And cent dollars are now loaded in mobile wallets on smartphones. To buy a beer, for example, simply scan a QR code. More convenient than swiping a credit card or using a grubby dollar bill. You may ask, why does it matter for you as a retail investors in cryptocurrency, Bitcoin or Ethereum? Well, digital currencies like a Bitcoin aren't yet widespread, but the race is on to get them into circulation as the battle lines harden between cryptocurrencies and stand-bys like the dollar. And more than 58% of central banks are now investigating digital versions of their cryptocurrencies, conducting experiments or moving to pilot program, and according to Pricewaterhouse research. And China is leading the change among major economies, pumping more than 300 million worth of digital renminbi into its economy so far, ahead of a broader rollout expected next year. European Central Bank, Bank of Japan and Federal Reserve are investigating digital currencies as well. And you know what is funny? Britcoin, a kind of Bitcoin, may eventually be issued by the Bank of England. Sweden is also lining up an e-krona and might be their first cashless nation by 2023. You know, if I were CEO of YouTube, I would make a smash the like button coin to support all YouTubers. I'm unfortunately not CEO of YouTube, so please smash this button anyway. Click or smash for God's sake. Okay, there is one more reason for growth of Bitcoin and alternative cryptocurrencies that I found. Money already flows through electronic circuits around the globe, of course, but the central bank digital currencies or countries' new digital currencies would be a new kind of instrument similar to the digital tokens now circulating in private networks. And people and businesses could transit into countries' new digital currencies through apps on a digital wallet. Deposits in countries' new digital currencies would be a liability of a central bank and may bear interest, similar to deposit held in a commercial banks, for example. And you know, all these countries' new digital currencies may also live on a decentralized ledgers and could be programmed, tracked and transferred globally more easily than existing systems. And this is exactly the reason why Bitcoin, Ethereum and maybe other alternative cryptocurrencies will be growing in the next 3-5 years. New cryptocurrencies and payment systems are raising pressure on central banks to develop their own digital versions. Bitcoin, while popular, isn't the main threat. It's highly unstable, more volatile than Venezuelan bolivar, for example. And many investors stay away rather than use it, and the underlying blockchain network is relatively slow. But the cryptocurrency market overall is gaining critical mass, worth 2.2 trillion in total now, with half of that in Bitcoin. And central bankers are particularly concerned about stablecoins, a kind of non-governmental digital token paged as a fixed exchange rate to a currency. So stablecoins are gaining traction for both domestic and cross-border transactions, particularly in developing economies. Technology and financial companies aim to integrate stablecoins into their social media and e-commerce platforms. Of course, central banks are looking at the stablecoins the way that taxi unions look at Uber, as a interloper and a threat, but the revolution cannot be stopped. And a Bitcoin will be playing a very important role in this revolution. And while many stablecoins are now circulating, the largest is Tether, with 51 billion in circulation versus 2.2 trillion for the dollar. A big one may be arriving soon in Diem, a stablecoin backed by Facebook. And this new currency, Diem, may launch this year in a pilot program, reaching Facebook's 1.2 billion daily users. It's also backed by Uber and other companies. So the potentially rapid spread of Facebook coin Diem is raising the ante for central bankers. And I think Diem, this coin, would combine a stable coin and a payment platform into a vast user base around the world, and that's potentially very powerful. And you know what will be the reserve currency for this new Diem coin for Facebook? Yes, Bitcoin. In my opinion, Facebook will hold big reserves in Bitcoin to make transaction to Diem as smooth as possible, and that's impossible to do without Bitcoin. The broader force behind country's new digital currency is that money and payment system are rapidly fracturing. In the coming years, people might behold Bitcoin as a store of value, while transactioning in stablecoins pegged to euros or dollars. The private sector is throwing down the gauntlet and challenging the central bank's role. And that's one more serious reason why Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum for smart contracts will be kind of support for these changes. The dollar will not disappear, of course. It's held in a vast reserves around the world and used to price everything from computers to steel. But every fiat currency now faces more competition from cryptos or stablecoins. And stablecoins in widespread use could upend the market since they aren't backstopped by government's assets. A hack of collapse of a stablecoin could send shock waves as people and businesses clamor for their money back, sparking a bank run or financial panic. And since they are issued by banks or other private entities, they pose credit and collateral risks. As commerce shifts to those digital coins along with other cryptocurrencies and peer-to-peer networks, governments risk losing control of their money policies, tools that central banks use to keep tabs on inflation and financial stability. So central banks needed to create digital currencies to maintain monetary sovereignty. And you know what currency will be used as a first step in this building? Yes, Bitcoin. The Fed, for instance, manages the money supply by buying or selling securities that expand or contract the monetary base. But if people aren't using your money, you have a big problem. And that's why they will be using a Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe other stable coins to support this huge growth. But it isn't all about playing defense though. Proponents of countries' new digital currencies say there are economic and social benefits such as lower transaction fees for consumers and businesses, more effective monetary policies, and the potential to reach people who are now unbanked. And countries' new digital currencies could also help reduce money laundering and other illegal activities, now financed with cash or cryptos. And since central banks can't stop the rise of privately issued digital money, countries' new digital currencies could at least level the playing field. While countries' new digital currencies have bounced around academia for years, China's pilot project launched last year was a wake-up call for everybody. Analysts say China aims to get its digital renminbi into circulation for cross-border transactions and international commerce. The standard renminbi now accounts for 2.5% of global payments, well below China's 13% share of global export, according to Morgan Stanley. China also mines about 50% of all bitcoins in the world, so the growth of China digital currency will be also well connected to Bitcoin growth. And you know, in China, transactions on apps like Alipay or WeChat now exceeded the total world volume of Visa or MasterCard combined. The Chinese apps have also become platforms for saving, loans and investment products. So countries' new digital currencies supported by Bitcoin could help regulators keep tabs on money flowing through the apps and help prevent stablecoins from usurping the government's currency. And momentum for digital currencies is also building for financial inclusion, reaching the people who lack a bank account or pay hefty fees for basic services like check cashing, for example. About 7 million US households, or 5% of the total, are unbanked according to the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. And Democrats in Congress recently proposed legislation for a digital dollar wallet called a Fed account, partly reach the financially disadvantaged people. And researchers at the Bank of England estimate that if a digital dollar went into the widespread circulation, it could permanently lift US output by 3% a year. That may be a stretch, but central banks, including the Fed, are now building systems for banks to settle retail transactions almost instantly, 24/7, at negligible cost. And countries' new digital currencies could slide into this infrastructure, cutting transaction fees and speed up all the commerce. That could reduce economic friction and lead to productivity gains for the economy. And Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe Tether will be a new future for these financial systems. Of course, digital currencies aren't without controversies and would need to overcome a host of technological issues, privacy concerns and other hurdles. For one, they could make it easier for governments to spy on private party transactions. Anonymity would need strong safeguards for new countries' digital currencies to reach critical mass in North America or Europe. Chinese officials have said their country's new digital currencies supported by Bitcoin will preserve privacy rights, but critics say otherwise. So all these new digital currencies could strengthen its digital authoritarianism, according to the Center for New American Security, a think tank in Washington, D.C. So a timeline for a digital dollar hasn't been revealed by the Fed and may take congressional action. More insights into the Fed's thinking should be coming this summer. The Boston Fed is expected to release its findings on a prototype system. One compromise, rather than direct issuance, is a synthetic country new digital currency, dollar-based stablecoins that are issued by banks or other companies, heavily regulated and backed by reserves at the central bank. And just believe me, there is no way to start and finish this revolution without increase of demand for Bitcoin or Ethereum. They're number one and number two cryptos in the world and keep a lot of value for many people and investors all over the world. And you know, whatever they develop, central banks can't afford to be sidelined as the digital tokens blend into social media, gaming and e-commerce platforms, competing for a share of our wallets and minds. Imagine a future where we live in augmented reality, shopping, playing video games and meeting digital avatars of friends. And that future isn't far off. Once we have these augmented realities, competition among currencies will be more pronounced. And I'm sure that central banks have to be part of this game, and I'm sure Bitcoin will be king of this hill. Thank you for watching my video. I hope I explained you why you have to keep your Bitcoins and not to sell it, even when they crash and a lot of YouTubers telling you opposite. Consider to subscribe for my channel and peace out.